Happy Memorial Day. Welcome to the Scoop World Order. A somber day, as always, remembering our fallen heroes. We appreciate all of the kindness you guys have spread throughout this weekend, remembering people that you've known, maybe family members that have passed. Again, happy Memorial Day to our greatest heroes. Jim Trussell had a great quote. I'm going to pull that up in a little bit. But again, we appreciate all of those who have passed defending this country. Very, very important day. And we appreciate all of you. That have also served just the entire armed forces. You're always in our prayers. We appreciate you guys, especially those of you that are abroad right now. Thank you for all you guys have done. Again, happy Memorial Day. Remember what it's about, and take care of a veteran today if you can. As always, we're going to have a huge show today. We're going to talk recruiting. The biggest weekend of the year is upcoming for Ohio State official visits. Some superstar talent coming into town. So we're going to dig into all of that as always. We appreciate you guys. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Remember, if you guys have a question, send us a super chat. It goes into our Pay It Forward fund. We've added a ton of veterans, a ton of our heroes to our site. Again, we appreciate all of you that are new to BuckeyeScoop.com via Pay It Forward. Thank you for all of those who take care of our veterans, and we appreciate you guys. We are America first around here. Stand up for your country. And thank some of our heroes. We appreciate you guys each and every night. Shout out where you guys are watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. What'd you guys do this weekend? The weather was a little shaky in Ohio, but I'd love to hear your plans and what you guys did. Hopefully you had some good time with your family. You were able to thank a veteran. You guys had a great weekend. We're going to get into a monster stretch for Ohio State football recruiting. Nevada, this is a big one. I mean, you look at the names coming in this weekend. There's a lot of... obviously, we have some committed kids, but we have some humongous brand names coming in, guys that would rock the earth if they committed to Ohio State, and guys like Ryan Day, Brian Hartland, Chip Kelly, Tavian St. Clair, Mark Pantoni, Mickey Marotti. They've got their blades sharpened, ready to go to war to try to get these kids, because these are kids that everyone in America wants. They're going to be fistfights. They're going to be NIL deals, big NIL kids. But I think we've got a really great shot at a lot of these kids. What are your thoughts as we're, 4-ish days out from the biggest recruiting weekend of the year so far? This is going to be a monster one. Again, the official visits happened in the summer now. That changed a few years ago. I think it's great, but it also it makes these coaches sharpen their swords and get ready to go to war a lot earlier than prior, when they used to be during the regular college football season. Your thoughts, Nevada?
Well, yeah, like you said, this is a profound change in terms of the the big weekends used to be the Ohio State Michigan game, or an in-season premier matchup, and you'll still have visitors for that, but the recruiting calendar has moved up, the decision tree has moved up. There's now 2 signing days now, and everything's moved up as a result. This weekend, you mentioned Tavian St. Clair. Tavian St. Clair is obviously not coming in on an official, but he's kind of the leader of this class. And so what do you want to have if you've got premier wide receivers coming in? You want to have your 5-star number one type player in the country type of guy, who's right down the road coming in for the weekend. And I mean, this weekend you've got Bo Jackson, you've got Vernell Brown, you've got DeCorian Moore, Justin Hill, Tarvis Alford, Riley Pettijohn, which is a guy that Ohio State likes a lot. I mean, they've just got a lot of kids coming in. And there's been a little bit of a lull in terms of recruiting right now, but that's been by design. They're now back at it. They've kind of, put the resources towards this weekend. Massive recruiting weekend coming up, and I would expect that we're going to have commits coming out of this. I know some of the guys have got some dates scheduled after that for an announcement. Generally, when people have an announcement date scheduled in advance, that means they know where they want to go. In this case, Ohio State feels like they're really, they're in a command position for a number of these guys, but we'll really have a good idea of where they are coming out of this weekend, because Ohio State will have a chance to put their NIL foot forward, to really have a chance to spend time with the parents, and really try to get a buying decision out of as many kids as they possibly can. But it's all hands on deck, including Tavian St. Clair, who's going to be there to try to be the ringleader of this whole thing. And Ohio State's hoping to have a big weekend by next Monday this time.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend. Obviously, Vernell Brown is the guy that I've got my eye on, a guy that I think we've got a great shot at. He's a guy that we got to keep it straight. Obviously, dad and grandpa are both Florida Gators, but with what Florida is going through with the transition, again, this is a business decision. I've said it a million times. Like, if you've got a kid like Vernell Brown, do you want to trust them to a coach to be named later? Because that's what Florida is. I mean, obviously, the coach that they have now is not going to be there for the long haul. He's been a disaster. Florida's a hard job. I mean, again, I know Spurrier made it not look easy, but he won there. Urban made it look good, but between those, before and after those two guys, Florida has sucked like their entire history. Except for when they had two of the top 10 to 15. I mean, obviously Urban's a top 5 coach of all time. Spurrier's probably top 20, top 15. So outside of having like two just overwhelmingly talented coaches, they've been a terrible program. So that's the thing that, do you want to trust them to your alma mater, or do you want to trust him to the place where he's going to go and get developed, with Ryan Day, with Chip Kelly, with Brian Hartline? That's the $1 million question. If I'm Vernell, I'm obviously going to Ohio State. I'd want to play for Chip Kelly. I'd want to be a weapon, a gadget. I think that the way the NFL is going now, I think that guys that are like Vernell, Vernell, he's kind of in the mold of the kid from Texas at the Kansas City Chiefs, drafted the kid that broke the 40-yard dash record. He's that type of guy, speed demon, gadget guy. But in the NFL, gadget guys are kind of in vogue now because guys like Deebo Samuel are getting paid a lot of money to be more than just a wide receiver. He's a running back playing wide receiver, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, I know some people knock that because maybe he's not as astute when running the different routes. But, when you've got a guy who's a receiver who can run like a hammer, it's a different world. And I think that that's what Vernell can be. And the stuff that Chip likes to do to get these guys in space and get creative, I think he'd be a dynamic player. I'm going to dig his film up while I'm talking about him. But, obviously, the headliner this week is DK Moore. It's Corey Moore, guy that, decommitted from LSU. It's open season right now on trying to get him together. These are business meetings where they take these officials. I think we have as good of a chance as any because we still have some time. Not a lot of time, but we have some time. And I think that we have to just sharpen the swords and get the pencils out and make sure that our pencils are sharpened when it comes to the NIL stuff with DK Moore and Vernell Brown, which we should be able to do. I mean, we've raised a lot of money. We still kind of have a clown car of having 2 NIL groups, but if we have one combined group, it'll be great. And I think that as they're passing legislation where the players are going to get paid, I think everything's going to come in-house and it's going to be much easier going forward. But for now, we have to sharpen our sword for DK Moore and Vernell. Bo Jackson is an interesting one. Taz Williams, another interesting one, wide receiver from Texas. Caden Strayhorn, offensive lineman, coming to town. So it's a big weekend. TJ Alford is a kid that has been rumored to be potentially, I don't want to say not looking around, but I think that a lot of these kids are, I don't want to say they're encouraged to look around, but, when you're dealing with, the who's who, you're dealing with the Optimus Primes and the Megatrons, you have to let these kids kind of go roam around a little bit and make sure that they're 100% comfortable. And I think that honestly, that's good. Now, real employed college coaches right now would be saying I'm an absolute idiot for saying that. But, I would rather a kid feel really comfortable that he's making the right decision than him not take the visits, him not go to Oregon or Florida State or wherever. And then he gets to Ohio State and, at the first sign of discomfort or the first sign that a coach is kind of on him or tough on him or yells at him or he's not playing or he's third string or he gets left off the travel squad or whatever, he's thinking of jumping in the portal and going elsewhere where they love him or where he thinks that they love him or where he thinks it might be better or he thinks that the grass is greener. I think it's better to be exploratory. Again, it's kind of like, I don't want to be too whatever, but I mean, a lot of you guys, you guys dated girls a bunch of girls in high school, a bunch of girls in college, like kind of, played the field a little bit. And then like you're able to find like the right one and then you settle down, get married, whatever, or get divorced, get married again, like some people, like your boy. But I think that it's a deal where, it's better to not just, I always see the stat about high school sweethearts that stay together from 5th grade to high school and then they get married and By the time they're 25, they're divorced and they're playing the field and they're going buck wild because they've only known one thing. So again, that's kind of a roundabout way of explaining why I don't mind these guys going and checking out other programs because, again, I think that in the portal era, you got to let these kids kind of try some other stuff out before they commit here because I feel like if they don't, or if you go ironclad on them, or you try to strangle them and say, oh, if you take a visit, you lose your scholarship and that type of thing, then I think kids are even quicker to pull the trigger and jump into the portal because they haven't explored it, they haven't thought it out as much. Maybe they felt cornered into committing somewhere, and again, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like And the other thing is like if we're just being real, a lot of these kids get paid to take these visits, these unofficial visits. Like, there's some big time guys that when they show up, man, they get a little backdoor money. And hey, God bless them. I mean, if that's a way to get a little extra scratch, then have at it, man. Especially with some of these schools that are throwing money around like it's going out of style. Nevada, what are your thoughts? Like, that was kind of a long diatribe, but I've seen it in action with the kids. I've seen it in action with the parents. I've seen it from the coaches' side. I've seen it from every angle. And again, I understand the coaches that want to be tough and be ironclad. And if you take that visit, you lose your scholarship, or we're going to recruit other people. And then I see the ones that are like, oh no, we'd rather you go and make sure that you're comfortable, and we want what's best for you. And like, there's a million different ways to paint it when a kid is taking visits when he's committed to like an Ohio State. But what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I just think you got to be realistic. I mean, it all depends on where you fall on the pecking order. If you're at the bottom of the class, and you get that Ohio State offer and you commit to it, then you better not be taking visits. Otherwise, they're going to flex on you and pull that offer and pull the power play and do that. But if you're a 5-star kid, they know you're getting 5, 10, 15, whatever grand you're going to get to take an official visit. They can't stop you anyway, so they encourage it. So I just think it's just a reality of where recruiting is in 2024, and it's frankly it's always been this way. The kids that that have the leverage can always say, I'm going to take all my visits on, save a spot for me. That's where that's the whole genesis of the silent commitment was, hey, okay, I'm committed to you, but I'm going to take other visits, but hold my spot. I'm coming this way, but I'm just to be sure, I want to go check out some other things. And that's the way the business used to be done. Now they do it a little bit more out in the open. Um, the silent commitment thing, isn't quite a thing. You get strong expressions of interest, like from Jamie French or from some other people like that. But no, I think Ohio State recognizes that the game has changed, and now that the economics is, I mean, we can poo-poo all we want, $5,000, $10,000, something like that. That's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of money. If somebody dropped 10,000 in cash on you on a bed, on your some 18-year-old kid taking a visit or something like that, I mean that'd be kind of mind blowing. So I think for a lot of these kids, it's a great way for them to generate some additional money, have some fun, and frankly, it's one of the few times in your life when you're going to be in total demand, where you're going to have people falling all over themselves, baking you cakes and writing you notes and bringing pretty girls to talk to you and showing you around and begging you to come play. Not everybody gets to do that. That's not the life that everybody gets to live. And for a lot of these guys, this might be the first and only time that this happens. So I say let them enjoy their moment. Do whatever they got to do, and you have to do these visits because you can't get to signing day without these visits. But this isn't the end of the process. It's just the beginning. Even if you get the commitment, obviously, it's a continual sales job all the way up to LOI. And even after they sign, you're gonna have to keep selling. So I just kind of enjoy it for what it is. It's a strong expression that Ohio State is in for the highest tier of possible recruits. And that means that Ohio State's doing a really good job of selling their brand, of selling their playing time, of selling their NFL opportunities. And Ohio State's not going to take a second fiddle to anybody on any part of the recruiting equation. And this weekend's going to be fun as a result. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I agree. And I got Verdell Brown playing as we're talking, but I think it's an interesting scenario as you get into these big weekends, and I think something that's tough, and this is something where, like the recruiting guys have to earn their money and the coaches need to earn their money. And honestly, if I was Ohio State, again, I'm not trying to sound cheap, but because we spend money like it's going out of style at Ohio State, it's crazy. But, I believe they lifted the cap on officials, so kids can go on as many as they want. So I think you got to kind of audit and see where these kids are. Are they real? Are they fake? Do they actually want to come, or do they just want to go to the Michigan game or whatever? But it's going to be it's always an interesting thing in the game of the portal, because I think that sometimes these kids, they surf around from school to school, because I feel like some of them, when they show up to campus, they've already kind of got maybe not 1 foot out the door, but maybe like 3 toes out the door. Especially the quarterbacks, because the quarterbacks, like a perfect example is like Ryan Montgomery. Ryan Montgomery is a kid who 3 years ago, I mean, a lot of us would have lost a lot of money gambling, saying, okay, he's going to be our quarterback. He was a freshman superstar from Ohio. Obviously, his brother's here. So a lot of us would have bet that he was going to be the quarterback in this class. Tavion St. Clair ascends, passes him in most national rankings, even though there's some people that I talk to that I trust that think that he might be, they're a lot closer than maybe those rankings lead you to believe. But, he ends up at Georgia. But he has visited like 50 schools. I mean, he's gone to Purdue and South Carolina, and obviously he's gone to Ohio State, Michigan, Florida, Tennessee. I mean, he's gone to every school, I think, in America. And I feel like when you do that, it's because of the transfer portal. Because again, if you show up somewhere and it ain't looking too hot, and again, it's almost hilarious how prophetic this was when I said this like a month ago. He commits to Georgia, which is great. Obviously, Georgia is one of the top 3 programs in the country, in my opinion. I think it's us, them, and Texas are the 3 best, and Oregon's right behind it. But a week later, they take Jaden Rashada, who is a superstar. He's the kid that's obviously suing Florida, $13 million NIL deal, went to Arizona State, was in the portal. We actually turned him down. But, he shows up and his eligibility doesn't completely overlap Montgomery, but it's close. He's going to have to hang around for a few years and maybe not start as early as, a lot of these kids, they want to start by their second year. They want to start by, the redshirt sophomore year and try to be a 3-and-out guy like CJ Stroud and a lot of these kids end up being. So again, is it smart? I think it's actually really smart that Ryan Montgomery visited all those schools, because if Jaden Rashada is that dude and he ends up being starting for 2 years while you're sitting with him, he's already there. You still got another year of high school, so he's going to know the playbook when you show up next January. And I think that's just part of the gig as you go on with college football. But yeah, I think that these guys, with the visits, it adds a lot of pressure. And I think that one thing that we don't talk enough about is how it really speeds up the evaluation calendar for these coaches. Because, again, Wayback Machine, my favorite machine in the whole world. I'd put a supercharger, a V8, and tint the windows on my Wayback Machine because I love going in it so much. But it's, in the old days, you had a lot of these seniors at camp. I mean, we evaluated a lot of seniors at camp. Now, these seniors are going on official visits, and they're not coming to camp anymore, unless they're that B-ish tier type of kid who's fighting to earn an offer. And there's a lot of kids that are still like that, but most of the higher end kids, they've already either gotten the offer or they've moved on from your school because you're not realistic. So I think that puts a lot of pressure on these coaches, especially when you're taking guys like offensive linemen that are later developing guys, to nail these evaluations, man. Because again, in the old days, you say, well, I could try to get them to camp as a senior, but the kids don't do it anymore. And frankly, our camps aren't as long anymore. So you don't even get as much time to evaluate them when they're actually here kind of in your grasp. So it's a different world. Nevada, your thoughts on the expedited calendar? Because I think that, the calendar sucks for these coaches now, man, because the summers they're just brutal. They get camp all week. Then they get the weekends of of just, kind of smash mouth official visits. Like official visits, like it's great. You get to go eat at Hyde Park downtown and eat steaks and lobster and butter. That's why all these coaches gain like 30 pounds during the month of June, because all they do is eat. And but you don't really get any time. I mean, you're working camps 4 or 5 days a week. You have some staff meetings. You've got your player workouts, with the team, and then on the weekends you got to take these kids out for official visits. So it's a grind. But your thoughts on this expedited calendar?
Well, I think it's give and take. I mean, look, the life of a coach is tough, as you know already. It's demanding. It's unforgiving for families and the like. But maybe it means you have more time available to you during the season, so you're not hosting 15 kids during games. I mean, those weekends, I don't know how coaches did that, where you're actually coaching a game for your life on national television, maybe even a rivalry game or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
And then you're hosting 25 recruits, and that now you're not getting the benefit of, you're not having the Hyde Park dinners or whatever it is, because you've got a game, or you've got to prepare for a game, or maybe it's after a game, or if it's a night game. So I just, I think I think I lean more towards that. I think it probably helps them keep a little bit more order in life, because they're able to get the full, experience. Now, for the players, they don't get the same thing. They don't get a game day. They don't get the school loaded with kids. There'll still be people around, but not the same thing like an Ohio State weekend during the season. But I think for the staff, probably easier. Probably enables them to focus on it, just be present with the task at hand, because I can't imagine how the staff is with kids coming in, and it's the night before a big game, and you're just obsessed over all that other stuff, and then you've got to focus on selling little Timmy on why he should come to Ohio State in the future, and then heaven forbid you lose, and then it's like a morgue, and you've got everybody walking around like they just died, and you've got to be chipper and optimistic and jumping up and down and stuff like that. So I lean towards more. I think it's probably a benefit for the guys, but yeah, they do get fat because they are eating those nice steaks, and if you're gonna get steak, you always got to get the lobster tail side and maybe the baked potato. Everybody's eating dessert, so it's definitely tough on the waistband, but probably good for their emotional well-being.
Yeah, it's the game official visits are miserable. I mean, they're absolutely terrible. I mean, obviously, like I played in the 1-2 Michigan game. We had a humongous weekend. Obviously, every kid in the universe wanted to come that weekend, and I don't think any of them committed. So it was great, because you'd think that if there's ever a game that would make a kid say, "Yeah, I want to be a Buckeye," it's like when we beat Michigan in the 1-2 game, the biggest game of the college football season by far, that could host an official. Obviously, not as big as the national title game, but for regular season, that was as big of a game as there's ever been. And we didn't get anybody, but it's I don't want to say because when I got recruited, my official visit was actually the week of the conference championship games. So it was like the first week of December. It was either a week or 2 weeks after we beat Michigan in 2002. It was December 5th, like December 5th, 6th, 7th. It was around that. So, it was different. I want to say it might not have been the conference championship. I can't remember, but I remember while we were there were games going on, and I think that Miami beat somebody. And I remember Trust saying, "Well, it looks like we're wearing white in the championship game," because Miami won. If Miami would have lost, obviously we would have been the 1 seed. So we were sitting there right as the game ended, and it was kind of funny that he said that. But, I like those weekends a lot better, because everyone's more relaxed. Everyone's able to actually just, enjoy themselves, take the kids around the campus. When you're trying to beat Michigan, man, I mean, as much as it's great to love those kids and everything, I don't care about those kids. When I was coaching, or if I'm one of them coaches in that Woody Hayes, and Michigan's coming to town, it's great to talk to those kids and talk to the families, but you're a basket case. I mean, I'm telling you, if you're Chip Kelly or Jim Knowles or Ryan Day, or you're getting ready for Michigan, and with all the marbles, and we're undefeated and trying to go to the national title, be the 1 seed in the playoffs, get a bye. It's hard to really, enjoy having those kids, and that's why really the in-season visits have basically boiled down to like kind of those late in the year, late in the process, 5-star-ish, high kid. Maybe if it's not a 5-star, maybe it's a project that kind of had a great senior year, and we're like a Zen Mikulski type that we're going on him, and maybe we weren't on him in the summer, and maybe some guys went elsewhere because they try to knock out. The Ohio kids like the Tavion St. Clair's, they try to knock those guys out in the summer now, get them all done. Like when they had the one weekend last year where they had the Armstrong twins and they had Ian Moore and they had all those guys in the same weekend just to knock it out and get it done. So it's gonna be a big weekend. I'm excited to see how we do with some of the major hitters. So Nevada, anything before we dig into some super chats?
Nah, I mean, it's going to be an unbelievable weekend. Just the intel that we're going to be able to get about where we stand with some of these kids is going to be fantastic because there's nothing like looking them in the eye. You can, hear the stuff about on the phone, or you can hear stuff about how they're leaning or but these official visits, you can really, really get a sense for where you stand with some of these big fish that are there in Ohio State's, sparing no expense to reel them in. So it's go time.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, first super chat of the night. Appreciate you, Ohio refugee. Thank you for being an ultra member. Thank you for the 10. Kirk and Nevada, are the B-Dubs and Twin Peaks sponsorships local or nationwide? I want to see if I can plant a flag here in Texas. Nevada OH. Well, Twin Peaks is an Ohio-based group. But they're all through. I mean, they're expanding, so that'll be a great question because I'm going to meet with them this week. Buffalo Wild Wings is it's a national and a franchise group, so there's two prongs to that one. So the answer is yes. So if you want to throw a flag up, I think it'd obviously be a lot easier to do at B-Dubs because it's part of the motif. They have flags and jerseys for the local teams and high schools, and I'm sure they have. If you're in, I don't know what part of Dallas you're in, but I'm sure they have Texans or Cowboys or Luka Doncic jerseys, whatever part of Texas you're in. I'm sure they've got the local flair because that's kind of their motif. But that would be awesome, and we appreciate that. Any of you guys, again, I always get like when it's a weekend like this weekend where people are out on their boats or people are out on vacation or whatever. They're in Hilton Head. Like I get photos of people with our flags on their balconies and hanging off their boats, and it's awesome. So keep those coming. Tag those in Twitter. Send them to me on Instagram, post them on BuckeyeScoop.com. Those are always awesome. So we appreciate you guys for repping because it never gets old. It's actually really, really cool. So we appreciate that. Nevada Ohio refugee says, Kirk and Nevada, the B-Dubs and Twin Peaks sponsorships local or nationwide. I want to see if I can plant a flag in Texas. That's pretty cool. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, like great sponsors. We encourage the patronage of them. At the very least, you're going to have great food and a great time. And we just, like I said, we appreciate you being here, and we appreciate them supporting us as well. So we're glad we were able to marry the two of you guys together.
Absolutely. Iowa Buck, thank you for the 5. Every time I'm having a bad day, I have to rewatch the show. What do you put John Simon's dad on screen? Pure comedy with how big that neck is. Nevada, your thoughts on that? Because that is actually pretty hilarious.
Dude, if you remember, I'm the one who called for that. I called for that. You delivered. You've got you were the keeper of all records on the internet and all knowledge in the world. It used to be like the library, the great library in Alexandria. Now it's Kirk Barton's computer is the home of everything that you could ever want, including a picture of John Simon's dad. So maybe you can oblige us with the obligatory John Simon's dad photo picture.
Well, first off, I'm going to send that message to Johnny Simon. I'm going to text that to him right now because that is outstanding. Let me find it. But yeah, Johnny Simon's dad actually gave me a Simon's Gym's hat. He has hats. It's his gym that's like, in his like garage where the strongest human beings on earth trained in Youngstown. But yeah, he's a big dude now. And let me find it because I can find the neck. I mean the neck is. It's crazy. But yeah, here's some of our favorites. Let me see if I can get this one a little bit clearer. It's a little blurry. But it's like Johnny's like pre-wedding photo where it's him, then it's Zach Boren. I can't tell who else it is, but this is a little blurry. So let me see if I can find a clearer one. But he
The official signing, the signing day one's the best one right there because it just kind of puts it in perspective how giant. Because Johnny Simon was a yoked dude, and his dad looks like he's
his
could
dad was
consume about seven.
more yoked.
Yeah, way more yoked.
I mean, his dad looks like he weighs like 500 pounds here, and not like a fat 500. Like I'm talking like 500 of just like look how big. Like Johnny's like probably 260 in this photo, and his dad's head is bigger than Johnny's like upper body. So I don't like. I don't know. Like I mean, you want to talk about if you he didn't do this, but like if you talk about like some guy that you don't pay your gambling tab in Youngstown, what's the guy going to look like that's going to pay you a visit? Probably looks something like this dude. So make sure you pay your vig and your dime and the juice and whatever else you owe. But these are classic photos because again he is I mean that's scary coming at you, but just a great dude, man. I mean he was a great dude, tough dude. I mean his son is the toughest player in Ohio State history in my opinion. Here's the blurry photo. This is before like the day of Johnny's wedding. So to stay on brand, they're at John Simon's dad's gym. You see Zach Boren. You see his dad. He's got the Inzer wrist straps on, ready to go. Bench press 700 pounds or whatever. Whatever else you do when you're 55 years old and you're pressing more than most roided out 25-year-olds do at LA Fitness. So. Shout out Johnny Simon and young Zach Boren there. That's actually hilarious. So, I'll keep this thing rolling. But yeah, Johnny Simon's dad is a unit. The definition of Buck Nasty. Thank you for the 10. Thank you for being an ultra member as well. Appreciate you, my friend. I'm a huge fan of Bo Jackson. Most of the best backs in Buckeye history are homegrown. They don't want to let down their community or state. I agree. I mean, I played with two of them. Beanie Wells and Antonio Pittman were fantastic. Archie's obviously from Eastmore. Keith Byers. Eddie's kind of the outlier because he went to Fork Union. But yeah, mostly homegrown guys. Obviously Ezekiel and JK kind of break the mold for being from St. Louis and Texas, but Trayvon's from Virginia. But the top tier guys like Archie, Keith Byers, guys that were the Heisman dudes, a lot of Ohio guys. Nevada, what are your thoughts on Bo Jackson? Because again, I love the kid, and I hope that he jumps into the boat as a commit.
I think we're going to get him. I mean, I've always thought the class was going to be three backs. I think it's going to be Wes Davison and Bo Jackson. But this is a big weekend. And this is where, look, we know what bad running back recruiting looks like. And now we're going to get a chance to see our new running back coach put his best foot forward and do work. And I think this one's tailor-made for him. Like you said, it's a homegrown kid. This should be one that we should be able to get done. I know Georgia's a formidable competitor for this, but this is one that we just got to lock down and make it happen. And I think we will. And Ohio State is supremely confident on Bo Jackson for whatever reason. I know that people have been kind of losing faith a little bit, and we're not sure. But Ohio State thinks they're getting them. And so I'm riding with them. The fact he's in on this is a great recruiting. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better recruiting weekend for him to be in on than this one. So Ohio State's going to give it their best shot, and I think they'll have some success. So we'll see.
Totally agree. Paul Lewis, I will see you this Friday. Look forward to seeing you, my friend. Thank you for the 50. I hope you had a great weekend. Scoop Hall of Fame member. Appreciate you. Hi guys, what do you think of the projected $20 million from the recent NCAA settlement will be distributed? Should non-producing revenue sports get any? Do I want to be politically correct or not? I don't think they deserve any. When you operate at a deficit every year, I don't think you, frankly, should get a piece of the pie. I think that when the lion's share of the revenue is created by football. A much smaller amount is created by basketball. They should get the settlement money because they're the ones that have been. I don't like to use the word taken advantage of because you're not like when you sign up to play college football, like you're not like enslaved to play college football. Like it's free will. You don't have to play college football. You can go be a regular student. You can go work a job, whatever. I never felt like when I played I was ever taken advantage of because I always took advantage of my opportunities that Ohio State afforded me. So again, I knew what I was signing up for. I knew that it was a lot of work. I knew that it was a lot of stuff. I mean, you get beat up, you get hurt, you get injured, whatever. But Ohio State playing football at Ohio State gave me everything, so I don't care. I'm good. Life's great. Life's amazing. Do I think that non-revenue sports should get money from it? No. I think that football should. I think basketball should. And I think that football should get like 85% of it. And I think it should be proportional to the revenue generated per school because not every school has a football program like Ohio State, but I think that Ohio State, the football team should get 85%, at least maybe 95% of the money. Basketball might get 5% of it because we carry the water. Our basketball program has been trash for a long time. I hope that they can turn the corner with the new guy with Diebler, but when I was there, we had Odin and Conley. I didn't realize it was the greatest, one of the greatest teams in school history outside of the Havlicek and Jerry Lucas days. But, I didn't realize that we were going to kind of be swirling around in the toilet for, the past 10 years or so. But I don't know. I don't know how you can make an argument that programs that wouldn't exist in any other facet of life should get revenue when we have to basically pay their way each and every year. Now, again, that might be a little harsh, but to me, it's just reality. It's kind of like, the WNBA. Again, I'm not going to come off the top rip on the WNBA, but without the NBA, the WNBA doesn't exist because the NBA, which makes a fortune, has to subsidize the WNBA because it operates at a loss every year. So, again, that's just numbers. Again, it's not me being a big meanie. It's not me being, sexist or anything else you want to say. Because, if it's not me being sexist, it's just a terrible product. And again, I know that Caitlin Clark is going to be exciting for 4 games as they're like 1-4 now. But without the men's game, they're not going to make it. They're not going to survive. So again, it's not a sexism thing because, Livy Dunn made a fortune, being a gymnast for LSU. And I don't know any guy gymnasts that made what Livy Dunn made. So again, I'm a free market guy. If you're talented and people want to pay you money, then God bless you and have at it. But when we have, the problem, and again, I talked to people at the top of all of college sports, and they said with a lot of these new rules, like a lot of these programs are going to be up against it, like as in they're going to go away. Like, I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure on schools to operate like SEC schools. Because for years, SEC schools, they have 12 sports, maybe 16, maybe at most 18. Like go log on to Tennessee's website and Florida and Texas, and they've got 16 or 18 sports. Like Ohio State, we have 36 sports, and only 2 of them make money. So, the other ones are just a drain on the economic status of our thing. Now, of course, we want to compete for the President's Cup and do all that cute stuff, but it's hard on the department when you've got to really rely on football, and that's why we have 10 concerts at the Horseshoe every year, and they're trying to do as much as they can to squeeze some more revenue out of that building because they need to. But I don't think the non-revenue producing people should get any money. And again, that's not me being a big meanie. I'm just saying, like, pay the people, which again, that's why I'm like, the Woody Hayes needs they need a new facility for football. Like, it's crazy it's gone this long, but that's Gene Smith, and that's the mentality of our sports, of our department, that they didn't replace the Woody, 15 years ago when it was well overdue. Nevada, your thoughts. Paul Lewis asked a great question. He says, hi guys, do you think, what do each of you think the projected $20 million from the recent NCAA settlement will be distributed? Should non-revenue producing sports get any? Your thoughts, Nevada?
Well, I had to listen. I know this has been a popular topic, nationally when they talked about the WNBA players now having to charter instead of flying first class. They have to charter.
Oh my God.
That,
Are you kidding me? No, I know we talked
You didn't
about
know
this. Go
that?
ahead. Go. No, no, no.
Yeah.
I was the one that told you about that, and I was like, dude,
No,
go
well,
ahead.
no, well, no, I mean, I'm aware of it, but
Yeah.
then now you know that you hear WNBA players complaining about the charter, about the quality of the charters. The charter service right now is not sufficient for them right now, um, which is kind of delicious irony that they get the charters and now that's not quite good enough for them yet. But no, to me, this is like simple economics. If you've got something that is generating the money, then you want to support it. It'd be like you've got a sales force. You've got a sales force, and you've got a portion of the sales force that generates 98% of your revenue. So where do you want to invest your money then? I think you want to invest it in that portion that generates the money. So if I'm Ohio State and you're saying, due to revenue sharing, you can now invest up to another $20 million into some aspect of your sports program, I would invest that money directly into something that's going to try to drive me way more than $20 million, and that would be the football program, and like you said, and to a lesser degree, the men's basketball program, and that's where I would spend the money. Now, do I think that's the way it's going to go down? No. I mean, there's Title IX issues. There's all sorts of issues on this thing that are yet to be determined, and nobody knows the answer. When I ask the questions about, well, is this going to be split equally between men and women? Nobody really knows. So I think we're kind of going into the great unknown. But just from a simple economic standpoint, I would invest it where you can get the highest return, because if you get the highest return, that rises all the boats. So if you're able to invest that $20 million into NIL or whatever into the football program, and that gets you better players, which means you're in the playoff more, um, which means your tickets go for higher prices and your suite, everything else goes up. Then you can support the other programs in a more sufficient way. But that's how I would approach it. I'm not sure that's how Ohio State's going to approach it, but I think to me that's the common sense approach.
Nevada, what is the highest rate of return you've heard of today?
You mean like the highest rate of return on stuff would I mean, you mean for where would I invest? Where would you get the
No,
highest rate of
no,
return on your
no,
money? And
no. What's the highest rate of return you've heard of today? Like in life in general, maybe in the history of mankind.
I'm not sure if I know where you're going with this, so I'm going to let you answer the question because you seem to have an answer. Well, that is definitely the highest rate of return of all time. Being impregnated by the whatever son of the brilliant Al Davis, that that's just a horrible story all the way around, man. I try to block that out of my mind, but yeah, the 26-year-old ex-stripper from Vegas gets pregnant from Mark Davis, who's got some serious issues, guys, and she just hit the jackpot, man. That's a horrible, horrible story. I just, oh my gosh. I mean,
Oh God.
think about her life right now. She's like, oh my goodness, I am carrying with me the heir to the Oakland Raiders fortune now, because I was able to trap this poor diminished Martin. And I'm telling you, he is diminished. He's not like everybody. He doesn't
Oh,
have
you've been
normal
around.
social skill.
You've been around him
Yes,
in Vegas. Like I mean, it's
he
like,
doesn't he doesn't have normal socialization skills
oh my
like
God.
other people, and so this is just a horrible story all the way around. But yeah, if you missed it, Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, has got his 26-year-old girlfriend. She is with child, and and yes, she's an ex-stripper. So
And he
Mark,
has no kids. This is going to be his
oh, I
first
know.
kid, and he's 7. I mean, whew, you want to talk about luck? You want to talk about lucking out in life, man? That kid's going to show up. It's going to be like, I get to inherit that big stadium that hosts the Super Bowl every other year. Wow, thanks, mom.
Oh yeah, awful,
Uh,
just awful.
dude, it's just like people are just so dumb. It's impossible. Speedman606, thank you for the 10. Life's been crazy this month, but I wanted to donate to the Pay It Forward remembrance of all the fallen patriots who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country. To them, we owe everything. I could not agree with you more. Semper Fi, as always, appreciate you guys so much. Nevada OH.
I
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is, in my opinion, the most important holiday. It's one to remember the reason why this country is free. This is the reason why everybody's fleeing to get here because it is so great. I think there's a lot of things that need to get fixed in this country quick. But we've got people that are the greatest generation. Obviously, our heroes that have fought tooth and nail to keep this country free. The amount of stuff we do abroad to keep the world safe and free is insane. Nobody does what this country does. So it's truly amazing how powerful the military is, how great they are. And again, they are the absolute ultimate heroes. So again, very thankful for all of our military members that are on here. All of those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Again, I don't take that lightly. It's just, it's just such a great day. And again, we appreciate you guys so much that served. Nevada, again, we've gone into great detail. Obviously, my father-in-law was a decorated military guy in the Navy. Your father, obviously, in the Air Force. Do you have a couple quick thoughts for Memorial Day?
Yeah, just it's like I said this yesterday, but for me, it's always been a day of celebration. It's always been a day of fireworks and being on base. And the best day of the year when you're on the military base is Memorial Day because everybody's pro-military, everybody's out kind of celebrating. Um, but for the civilians, it's a time just to thank a veteran. Thank those people that made the sacrifices that are there so you can have the freedom that you have. And I think people forget that all the time. The old thing, freedom isn't free, man. It's such a great saying because a lot of people paid a dear price so that you have freedom of speech and freedom to do what you want and freedom to go where you want to go. And you think about how the world could be really, really different if some people didn't stand up and pay just an awful price so that you can have those freedoms. But yeah, I just appreciate everybody who served or was part of a service family. Just God bless everybody. So appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you guys have a minute, you guys should check out. Tress is doing his podcast now, and this isn't Ryan Day and this isn't AJ Hawk, but he interviewed a lady named Marianne Miller, who's a retired four-star general. I believe she came up in the ROTC, and I think she's the only. I don't know if she's the only female to do that to end up a four-star general, but he told me. I talked to him last week about the podcast, and it's a really interesting show. He just posted it today. So on YouTube, just look for Jim Tressel. This is his most recent episode, but it's a really it's a great listen. It's about an hour long. They do a really good job. Very interesting. But yeah, I got to get him on here because he's doing his podcasting thing now, and he's got some really interesting people on there. And she's obviously a true hero. She talks about Memorial Day. She talks about how America welcomed back Vietnam veterans. It was a really good show. I listened to it while I was working out today, and you support it. Go give my guy Trust a like and take care of my dude. Tell him the scoop sent you, and we'll have him on soon. I'm going to get him on. He's been podcasting his butt off right now, but he's going to be on here soon. I'll try to get him on a live show so you guys can ask him some questions. Tony Turley, what is up, brother? I hope you had a great day up in Toledo. Thanks for being a Hall of Fame member. Thanks for being an Ultra member. Thank you for the 100. That is very generous. Appreciate you, my friend. Guys, just giving in honor of those who gave the last full measure of devotion. May God hold them tightly on this special day. Nevada OH. Yeah, Tony, you're an awesome dude, man. I appreciate you so much for all you do for us. You give us some great guidance. Again, Tony Turley is one of the most powerful attorneys in the country, and he is a big-time Scoop member. So very, very, very good person for you guys in the Scoop family to know. So if you guys need anything, you can look him up. If you guys have any legal dealings, and we have Nate Stuckey as well, who's a Scoop member. He does the car attorney stuff, the car wrecks. So I've actually referred him a couple people that have had unfortunate accidents, and Nate's been an absolute monster in those cases. So thank you, Nate. Appreciate you, my friend. He's been with us since day one. ZZM, what is up, brother? How are you? Thank you for being part of the Scoop 18, our text chain that had about 75,000 texts in the last 5 days. Appreciate you guys. So thank you for the 10. And thank you for being an Ultra member. Happy Memorial Day. With universities paying players, will enrollment still be required? Ooh, could players be strictly employees? I don't think they want that smoke. Could we see trade in college football? These changes are so rapid. Nevada OH.
I
I'll take a crack at this first. Enrollment, I believe, will still be required, even though it's getting to be, I don't want to say it's a joke, but when these kids are in all online classes and they never have to go to campus and they never have to see the student body, like I hate that. I think it sucks. Like, I mean, I liked here's like I didn't like going to class, but I liked being around fellow students, getting to know them, talking to them. I had a history undergrad. I got my MBA at night. We did it was a grind. It was a crazy grind, but I liked being around humanity. Like sometimes like you guys will see me like if I go out to Buffalo Wild Wings or I go to Twin Peaks or wherever, I go there, take my iPad, and I just like to be out in humanity. I like to talk to people, have a couple beers, eat some chicken wings, get a salad, whatever, and just shoot the breeze. And again, like I used to get that feeling from going to class because I lived off campus. I lived in Hilliard when I was an undergrad kid, and I didn't live on campus. I didn't live right off campus on like 13th or 12th or Indianola, like a lot of you guys did that were in fraternities or the girls that were in sororities or whatever. So I liked going to class. I liked, and I think that it's important to get to know your professors. I think it's important to talk to them and I think it's important to show up to class and let them know that you care about what they're teaching, because for those professors, that's like their life's work for a lot of them. So if it's ancient Chinese history, if it's whatever, if it's sociology class, if it's geology, I mean, there's a million different things you can take at Ohio State. Like, go there, you know, participate in class, answer questions, be involved, and magically, like, your grades will be really good. I mean, obviously, you got to do your part, and you can't just go fail every test and not do your homework. But you do good on the tests, and you do all your homework, and you act like a good person in class, and you talk to your professors and get to know them. Then magically, like, it's just not hard to get good grades in college. Like, it's not some sort of crazy cheat code, but that's kind of is what it is. So I wish that these guys were in more in-person classes and less online classes, because a lot of these guys, they're online for everything. And so they can just kind of go to class whenever they feel like it. And I think that's stupid. Could players be strictly employees? See, I don't think so. I think I think that the schools are avoiding that at all costs because they don't want to pay workers' compensation if these guys get hurt. Because these guys get hurt. These guys are like crash test dummies, and insurance is already crazy and expensive. And if you throw workers' compensation into it, then it's going to go ballistic. And I think a lot of these schools are going to have to drop football, the small schools. Could we see a trade in college football? I don't think it's going to get to that point, just because then it's just professional football. Again, I don't. I think that once they're out of school, it's going to be the players' will. But it'll be interesting to see what they do to resolve the portal, because I don't think the portal can stay the way it is. These changes are so rapid. Nevada OH. All right, Nevada, I'm going to reread this to you real quick. ZZM, again, thank you for the 10. Happy Memorial Day. With universities paying players, Nevada, will enrollment still be required? Could players be strictly employees? And could we see a trade in college football? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think there's a lot to unwind there. You talk about what's the future going to look like for college football, and will these just become, you know, like professional teams representing the school? I mean, it's almost like the Columbus Crew representing Columbus, and this going to be the professional team for Ohio State University. I think that could that happen? Sure. Is everybody, all the powers that be, and everything that has to do with college football, going to do everything in their power to prevent that from happening? Yes, they are. There's something special about college football that we all know. We all have an affinity for college football that it has for different reasons. For me, it's all about the pageantry and the tradition, and yeah, the idea that these guys are playing for old Ohio State, and for Brutus the Buckeye and for Woody and for the Horseshoe and for the pride of Ohio. And I think if you take that away, you're losing something that's just so dear to college football. And I don't think they want to be a mini NFL. I think they'll fight tooth and nail to avoid being put into that situation. Um, I think everybody knows that. I think all the stakeholders know that that would really be bad for college football. And ultimately, when there's really no countervening force, there's nobody on the other side that's saying, "Hey, no, I really want to professionalize." I think once the players are getting this amount of money, they've got this amount of freedom. I think some of the pressure is going to come off college football to make any more radical types of changes, like the stuff that you would suggest that would involve non-registration of students, trades, or making players employees. I think it's going to dissipate a little bit over time, and maybe that's just because I'm hopeful that's what it'll be. But I really do believe that in our lifetime we won't see any of those things happen.
I totally agree with you. I think that's way too far down the road, and I think that they got to keep it. They got to keep it. There's got to be some sort of line between being NFL junior and the NFL. Like they got to keep some of the college stuff, and I think school's important. I think the 3 year deal is important. You got to be 3 years in college before you can get to the league. I think those are all huge. So it'll be interesting. Cade Weston, thank you for being an Ultra member. Thank you for the 50. That is exceptionally generous. I appreciate you, my friend. Happy Memorial Day, Kirk, Nevada, and Scoop family. Thanks to all who served, fam. If you're ever coming into Columbus and need a discounted Airbnb, just shoot me a message. My old house is a mile from downtown, fits up to 10 people. Cade West at Google. That is very generous. And again, I like plugs like this because anytime people in the Scoop family can do business together, I think it's good for both sides. I think people can help each other out. If you guys need somewhere to stay, look him up, Cade West at Google. Nevada, again, Cade Weston. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for being an awesome member. Also, again, thank you again for the 50. Happy Memorial Day, Kirk, Nevada, and Scoop. Thanks to all who served. If you're ever coming to Columbus and need a discounted Airbnb, that could be you to Nevada. If you come into for more of these games, just shoot him a message. His old house is downtown. Curious where you're at now, Cade. But I appreciate you, Nevada OH.
And I echo your saying. I love it when we plug stuff on here. I mean, this is how you guys should be using this. This is a giant bulletin board and community of like-minded individuals. And if you've got a small business that you want to plug, or you've got an idea that you want to plug, or you need help, we have people on our message board. We had a guy who had some issues with the general contractor and asking some questions. I mean, we want to be a resource for you. We want to be there. So plug away, fire away. And Cade's a great, I think, down in San Diego, great guy, smart guy, successful guy.
Yes,
And
yes.
and very happy to and a generous guy. So thank you so much for being part of the Scoop family, Cade. We're really glad that you're here.
Yeah. Again, we appreciate you guys as always. Again, it's always fun for. I know a ton of you guys have literally gotten together offline. I know Shof and Devin went fishing recently, which is awesome. A lot of us met at the meetup for the first time, and everyone became fast friends. So it's really cool. With the contracting thing, it's funny. I said that to Tony Turley last night I was just sitting there reading. I was like, Tony might have this, and it was 10 o'clock at night, but I know most people were off today, so I figured I'd shoot it to him, and he's gonna have some answers for it. So again, we've had a guy, and if you guys aren't on BuckeyeScoop.com, you guys need to join it because our message board website is incredible, and it's like this, except it's probably 100 times better because it's 24 hours a day. This is 1 hour a day. BuckeyeScoop.com is 24 hours a day. I mean, we're always on it. And it's just, we have tons of members, all disciplines. We have really, really successful stock traders, attorneys, business people. Like, you never know who you're going to meet in there and what the overarching deal is going to be. So get hip, get on BuckeyeScoop.com, kind of pour your heart out, talk a little bit, and you're going to make a lot of really, really good friends and meet some great people just in time for probably the biggest season in Ohio State history. So, well, Nevada, we can wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts?
No, I'm so excited about this recruiting weekend. This is a big one. This is a big one. This is one first. Pull. I mean, Tarter Salford's committed, but you need to pull him back. Make sure his wandering eyes don't wander anywhere else, and get other guys kind of on board. And land some of these big fish. Get them in there and get that recruiting momentum. Ohio State's got the recruiting momentum. They've got the brand momentum, but got to crank it back up and inject some nitrous into the oxygen into the engine this weekend, and hopefully they do that with some big commitments coming out of it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it, and we cannot wait for it. That being said, happy Memorial Day again. We appreciate all of you guys that paid it forward today to remember our fallen heroes. Again, thank you. If you guys have people to nominate for Pay It Forward, hit us up, buckeyescoop@gmail.com. We've added new members to buckeyescoop.com. Again, we appreciate all of you. We generally, I'll give them a call, get a military ID, just to confirm everything, get it signed up. It's been a fantastic program. A lot of people are getting a lot of benefit out of it. So thank you for that, as always. With that being said, if you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Again, we appreciate you guys. We're rolling every night at 7 through the off season into what will be a humongous season for Ohio State football. So thank you guys. As always, we appreciate you guys kicking it with us. Again, this is such a great community. I would join BuckeyeScoop.com. Again, it is our heart and soul. The podcast is outstanding. We appreciate all you guys that are on here each and every night. But BuckeyeScoop.com is 24 hours a day. It's awesome. So I'm going to go jump on there right now for the rest of the night. But we appreciate you guys. Again, shout out where you guys are watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Get ready to get after it this week, starting tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7. That being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. I hope you guys have a great night. Go Bucks.